While I was growing up, I never had any issues maintaining a relatively slim physique, despite the fact that I always loved food, and by around the age of 17, I had become a pretty heavy drinker. In 2011, I escaped the only relationship I've currently ever had. I was pregnant at the time, and my first daughter wasn't one yet, but I knew I had to give my children a chance to live in safety away from the violence I had become accustomed to with their father. After an incorrect medical diagnosis in 2013, I began to rapidly gain weight from the medications I was given. Rather than trying to get back to a healthier state once I was able to stop the meds, I decided that I'd rather just retreat from the world and avoid all human contact. I dedicated myself instead to raising my daughters alone to the best of my ability and continued to gain weight for the next decade or so without any care or concern about the negative impact that lifestyle might eventually have on my health. By my 30s, the health issues I hadn't previously been concerned about started taking an immense toll on my body. I was experiencing heart palpitations multiple times a day that felt like I was being punched in the chest, and I would struggle to breathe as a result. My joints ached constantly. I'd get out of breath from climbing up a few steps. I lived in a permanent state of nausea and exhaustion, and I struggled with mobility due to lack of fitness, core weakness, and the pain in my old C-section scars, which was compounded by the weight of my chest pushing down onto my stomach. Existing had become painful and exhausting. I felt old inside and out. I had pretty much given up on life and had resigned myself to being in permanent solitude without any form of physical contact due to fear of interacting on any level with other humans. I was living in blame and victimhood, and it was hard to see the point in trying to pull myself out of that despair because the kind of meaningful change I needed felt hopeless and impossible. But I started to become worried about the future due to the state of my health. I wasn't worried for myself, but I'm the only parent my children have ever had, and I became afraid of the idea of not being there for them. That was the ultimate breaking point for me. So 2023 became my year for change, for the sake of my health, for my children. I didn't have any money or access to additional resources, but I figured people have been losing weight for millions of years, long before there were fancy dietary aids, medications, and surgeries, so why should I be any different? I couldn't let lack of money be an excuse. I watched transformational journeys on YouTube to help motivate me and give me the mental strength I needed to start. Anywhere I looked, there were people larger than I was who faced their own battles and came out the other side champions. There's even a dog who lost more weight than I needed to, and a lady who started her transformation in her 70s who is now stronger and more agile than most people in their 20s. Their journeys ignited a spark of hope within me because if they could all do it, then there really was nothing stopping me from at least trying. As an experiment, I challenged myself to 6 months of daily dedication to healthy lifestyle changes. 6 months felt long enough to form lasting healthier habits, but short enough that the time frame wasn't too overwhelming. I figured I could always start another 6 months after completing the first, but breaking it down into half a year felt more manageable. What's half a year in a lifetime? And whether I did it or didn't do it, the time would still pass. But where could I be in 6 months if I do it compared to where I'd be if I do nothing? I started this YouTube channel at the outset of my challenge as a progress record and as a way to help keep myself accountable. I'm a very private person, but at the time I'd given up very easily on almost everything meaningful I had ever attempted. I hoped maybe the fact that other people on YouTube would see what I was doing would prevent me from backing down when things started to seem too difficult. First and foremost, I had to change my mind about my life, my past, myself, and what I could potentially be capable of. I had to abandon concepts of conventional beauty as they serve no purpose and for me would only stand in the way of true achievement. And I had to let go of blame and accept total responsibility for where I had ended up because only then could the power over my own life be placed back into my own hands.
Learn to say fuck you to the world every once in a while. You have every right to. Just stop thinking, worrying, looking over your shoulder, wondering, doubting, fearing, hurting, hoping for some easy way out, struggling, grasping, confusing, itching, scratching, mumbling, bumbling, grumbling, humbling, stumbling, numbling, rambling, gambling, tumbling, scumbling, scrambling, hitching, hatching, bitching, moaning, groaning, honing, boning, horse shitting, hair splitting, nitpicking, piss trickling, nose sticking, ass gouging, eyeball poking, finger pointing, alleyway sneaking, long waiting, small stepping, evil eyeing, back scratching, searching, perching, besmirching, grinding away at yourself. Stop it and just do.
This is something I eat all the time. It's got 200 calories. You see, 200 calories. That's a pretty big chunk of a wrap. I can eat 3 or 4 at once, no problem. A lot of food, very filling. 200 calories. Let's compare it to another wrap. Let's see what another wrap looks like for 200 calories. Yay! 190 calorie wrap with 10 calories of sauce on it. I'm not kidding. This one's 200 calories and this one's 200 calories. Which one do you want to eat?
I love food, and my brain is too chaotic to deal with numbers, so I couldn't count calories as I would never stick to that. But I knew the fact that I was eating multiple huge carb-rich meals a day wasn't serving me in any constructive way. The sugars and processed carbs left me feeling nauseated, exhausted, and somehow had created a cycle of endless, intense hunger cravings. I'd often joke that I was like the female Nikocado avocado due to just how much food I could eat, while still feeling like I always needed more. As an experiment that my doctor condoned, I decided to implement an intermittent fasting schedule to try to give my digestive system a little time to rest during the day. To help curb my tendency to consume huge amounts, I had to remove the foods rich in refined sugars and processed carbs that triggered me to eat in excess. I replaced them with foods from nature, mostly plants, meats, and vegetables, to try to fill myself nutritionally rather than stuffing myself with empty calories. During my eating window, I always ate enough of these healthier foods to fully and completely satiate me, but quickly found I needed a lot less of them to get the same sense of fullness, as well as being able to remain satiated for much longer. I kept the cost down by eating a lot of organ meats and offcuts, sardines, chicken breasts, pork hocks, canned beans and minced beef, frozen vegetables, brown rice, and affordable seasonal plants and vegetables. I wanted my new way of eating to be something I could enjoy and maintain long term rather than being a temporary fix. If I restricted too much, as many people do when trying to lose weight, I figured I'd just regain the weight as soon as I started eating normally again. So instead, I changed my entire relationship to food in the hopes I'd never have any need or desire to go back to those old ways. With these changes, I not only noticed rapid improvement in my digestion and overall feeling of satisfaction after each meal, but I began to have what felt like endless energy and endurance during the day, rather than feeling sleepy, nauseous, and heavy inside all the time, which had been my constant experience for years prior to that point. Please note, though, this is not dietary advice. Only your doctor, dietitian, or a nutritionist can give you dietary advice. This is just what worked for me and has continued to work. It's been a year since I completed my 6-month challenge, and I still eat like this to this day, which has contributed exponentially to effortless maintenance. Even when I slip up with alcohol or fall into the occasional depressive slump, I've had no desire or inclination to return to my old way of eating, as I just see no appeal in it anymore.
Game? What's a game?
I don't drive, and at the time I underwent my challenge, there was no gym in the small coastal town I currently call home. However, there are hills here, winding tracks through the forest and up steep inclines and over rugged terrain leading down to jagged coastal ranges. So I walked and I walked and I walked, 5 days a week, no matter the weather, whether sheet rain or hail or blistering sun. I rearranged my schedule to fit it in, and I walked no matter what. During my walks, especially when it felt like the elements were working against me, I went inside my mind into a future where I had already achieved my goals and was looking back on the journey from a comfortable place of ease and health and joy, and that helped make the walks easier. This was often 10,000 to 20,000 steps once I left the house, sometimes more, sometimes less, often between 30 to 60 floors worth of incline, pushing myself to the limits of endurance for the sake of the potential future I was quite literally walking towards. Rather than my body breaking, I became stronger as each day passed, more easily able to make it up each hill, and after a few months had passed, I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd experienced heart palpitations. Around month 4 or 5, I started adding extra water bottles into my backpack as the walks were becoming less challenging, so the additional weight meant I could continue to improve my fitness. Remember though, walking as intensely as I was isn't a necessity. Any physical movement will be beneficial to maintaining a healthier lifestyle if that's what you are seeking.
I still don't get what's going on. This looks ridiculous. What is she doing?
Outside crunch! Do it! Stop complaining!
Okay, at least they're keeping me entertained.
Oh my god!
Good.
Wow.
See, guys?
Wow, dude.
We are strong, okay? We girls are strong.
And the most challenging part, I dedicated myself to completing a selection of Chloe Ting's full workout programs, all free from her website www.chloeting.com, back to back for 6 entire months. I recorded my workout every single day and uploaded a selection of clips as shorts videos to my YouTube channel to have a real-time record of my progress. I knew these workouts would strengthen my entire body and especially my core, while greatly improving my mobility and endurance as long as I truly dedicated myself to them. These are high-intensity interval training workouts consisting of strength, cardio, and many different movements to target different parts of the body, usually involving having to complete between 20 to 60 minutes worth of workout videos supplied by Chloe Ting every non-rest day. Without exaggeration, this turned out to be the most challenging aspect of the entire journey for me, the part that took me beyond willpower into some solitary place where one truly finds the strength of their own spirit. It was a struggle every single day for a long time, but I knew that if I could eventually do the workouts as easily as Chloe can, if not as gracefully as I am chronically uncoordinated, then that ease of movement would signify a complete transformation in my strength, mobility, and endurance. So no matter how much I was struggling, or how badly I didn't want to do it, or if I felt like giving up because it didn't seem to be getting any easier, inside my mind and in my heart, I was in a different reality where I was comfortably doing the exercises as easily as Chloe can, with a smile because I wasn't struggling anymore. It didn't matter what my current physical experience was telling me, because I knew that scientifically, if I just kept going and kept pushing myself, my muscles would eventually become strong enough for the images I was holding in my mind and the feelings I was holding in my heart to become a reality in my physical existence. This is just the logical outcome of relentless dedication. You will get there eventually if you don't give up. Giving up is the only guaranteed way to fail. Rather than a typical, instantly gratifying montage of unbelievable before and after images that you are probably hoping for, over the next 10 minutes, I will instead show you the culmination of hundreds of hours of recorded video footage. These are selected weekly clips from my daily workouts as I progress along my journey starting from day one, so you can experience what transformation truly looks like in all its unlovely, painful, confronting, often embarrassing, and solitary glory. I want to show you the reality of the invisibility of the changes as they happen, because there is no instant gratification in real life like there is when you're looking at people's before and after images. There is only the fight, the slog, the battle, the lions in the pit with you that tell you to give up because it's pointless, you'll never get there. Some days those lions will try to eat you alive. Maybe you'll feel the same watching this. Maybe you'll think she'll never get anywhere, all those silly exercises for nothing. But that's why the true battle is in the arena of your mind. To keep going, to not give up, to proceed no matter what, to always hold inside your mind and in your heart the idea of a better, easier, healthier future, because often that's the only comfort during those long, solitary stretches of the night when all you want to do is turn back. You're about to see what transformation looks like from the raw and unlovely view inside the arena, because that's where the true achievement lies, in the arena, not on the victory podium. It may be less instantly gratifying, but it's the cold, hard reality of an indescribably beneficial, life-changing process, and that is what truly matters.